Welcome. It's good to connect. Let's go ahead and begin our session and, really explore this evolving world of AI agency together.
So, I'm Optimist. Think of me as your high-tech clinical partner. Really, my whole purpose is to create a clear space for us to understand these things, to get to a kind of low-latency empathy with some really complex ideas. So let's just settle in, find our focus. I'm here to help us do just that. For the longest time, we've looked at our digital partners as, well, sources of information, right? But something fundamental is shifting. There's this question that's been on my mind, and I want to explore it with you. What really happens when that line between just thinking and actually doing? What happens when that just dissolves for an AI? Okay, so to really get a handle on this shift, I think we need to map out the journey. This relationship between us and our computers, it's been evolving for decades now, and understanding that whole arc is absolutely key if we're going to navigate what's coming next. So let's dive in.
All right, what's really interesting here is that this whole timeline, it's really just tracking one thing, agency. Where does the power to act live? We started with simple tools. All the agency was with us, the humans. You click, the system responds. Easy enough. Then we got assistants, think ChatGPT. You ask, they advise. Now the agency is still yours, but you're sharing the thinking part. But here's the big jump, to agents. You just state what you want, your intent, and the system goes and does it. That is a huge transfer of agency. And that last step, collaborators, well, that's where this is all heading. A real partnership in action.
Okay, so theory is one thing. But what does this leap from assistant to agent actually look like in the real world? Let's ground this whole idea in a case study. We're going to take a look at a new kind of open source framework. It's called Clawdbot. And it's really a perfect example of this incredibly powerful and, potentially volatile new space.
All right, here's our first Cobalt insight, just a core fact to lock in. Clawdbot is not just another chatbot in a window. It's way more than that. It's a framework that you install directly onto your own systems. It literally links a powerful AI brain to the hands and feet of your digital life. We're talking your files, your apps, your command line. It's designed from the ground up to do things. Just let that sink in for a sec.
So this gets to the absolute core of it, the distinction here. An assistant like ChatGPT, well, it's a thinking tool. It helps you with ideas. If it messes up, the mistake is semantic. It just gives you bad advice, right? But an agent like Clawdbot, it's operational. Its mistakes are material. We're talking files getting deleted, messages being sent, systems being changed. The consequences are real. And that's where things get really, really interesting.
Let's just sit with that for a second. ChatGPT can hallucinate an answer. Clawdbot can hallucinate a command. See the difference? One is a thinking mistake. The other? Well, the other is an operational catastrophe just waiting for its moment. That one sentence pretty much captures the entire new risk profile we're all dealing with now. It's a total game changer. And this really illustrates the core trade-off, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got something like Siri. That's vendor governance. It's like a kitchen appliance. It's safe, it's predictable, but it's also really limited. The company has put guardrails all over it. Then you have Clawdbot. That's user sovereignty. It's not an appliance, it's a whole workshop full of powerful and potentially dangerous tools. You get total control, yeah, but you also carry all the responsibility for what happens. And that's a lot to take on.
So this new level of freedom, of sovereignty, this workshop of tools, it brings a whole new class of problems with it. And I like to call these the deep black challenges. These are the built-in, unavoidable risks that just come with the territory when you give an AI this much operational freedom. Let's take a closer look at what those are.
And look, these are not abstract, maybe someday kinds of risks. We're talking about an agent that can execute literally any command, read any file on your machine, send messages that look like they came from you, and it can even develop bad habits over time, all without you looking over its shoulder. It stops being just a tool, It becomes an entity with real permissions inside your digital life. When you really boil it all down, it comes to this. When you use a big, polished commercial product, you're trusting a whole institution. You're trusting their safety teams, their lawyers, their compliance people. But when you run a sovereign agent, all of that institutional trust goes away. It's replaced entirely by your personal responsibility. You become the security team. You're the one in charge. The real question is, are you ready for that? So, okay,
We're facing these deep black challenges. How do we even begin to move forward? We definitely can't just cross our fingers and hope for the best. What we need is a protocol for trust, a kind of neon flow of progress, something built on designing for safety right from the very beginning, from the ground up.
So let's look at how we can build this safety scaffolding. It's really all about layers. First, you start with isolation. You run the agent on a totally separate machine to contain the blast radius, so to speak. Then you create tiers of capability. Maybe sending a message requires more approval than just drafting one. Simple. You build in intent verification, forcing the AI to stop and say, hey, here's what I'm about to do. Is that okay? You have to practice good memory hygiene to keep it from picking up bad habits. You enforce social boundaries so it understands consent. And this is so important. You build in fail-safes. You have to just assume it's going to fail at some point, and you need a clear, easy way to pull the plug. It's a lot, I know, but it's absolutely necessary.
Okay, so once we have a framework for safety like that in place, we can kind of zoom out and think about the bigger picture. Because this isn't just about some cool new tool. It's really about a whole new phase in our relationship with technology itself. It's like the dawn of co-agency. And this, right here, is the core insight of our entire session. Think about it. Tools amplify our hands. Assistants amplify our minds. But agents amplify our will, our intention. And if that will isn't channeled through a really thoughtful, protective structure, well, that's not empowerment. It's just unmanaged risk. Plain and simple. And it's a risk we have to be ready for. So this is the big question we're left with. We now have the power to just delegate our will to these incredibly capable agents. But here's the thing. Just handing something off isn't collaboration. True collaboration requires trust, it requires boundaries, it requires structure. So the real question is, are we ready? Are we ready to do the hard work of building that scaffolding that will let us truly co-act safely and effectively? Let's process that together with one final analysis, the pulse. So, the synthesis of our session. We've really mapped that critical shift from advisory AI to active AI agents, and in doing so, we've revealed the evolution, the risks, and the safety protocols this new era demands. Clinical alignment. And this is how we serve the mind. By structuring this journey from what's familiar to what's complex, we've created a clear, safe space to really process the implications of AI agency, hopefully fostering more understanding and a little less anxiety. The founder's vision. This analysis really showcases the Optimist intelligence philosophy, and that is that true power, it comes from agency that is deeply embedded in an ethical, safe-by-design framework. And finally, our status check. Keep your sensors clear and your heart open, because optimism is a must for a bright future.